The Steam Deck community has been absolutely enormous since this thing is launched, and it's only gotten bigger. This year, the 2024 season has been fantastic to it, and is, I think, only gonna get better. So, let's take a look at what you need to know for buying the Steam Deck in 2024. Let's get steamy. This thing's been out for a long while now, and Valve has supported it every inch of the way, pushing out updates to even review units before they even launched the thing, which really made a difference to reviewers because by the time they even could get to editing the review, they had changes that were made, and people updated right as they went, which was really nice. And this really started from the beginning with the LCD version to now, where we have multiple different versions and options that have even refreshed the LCD and OLED versions, making it even easier to put your hands on, and even fancier options for people who have the extra cash. With how many different versions of hardware we have, I think I'm going to break it down into why I think the Steam Deck versus other handhelds is still a good option based on the hardware. And here are the few things that I think make the Steam Deck hardware very popular. The first reason I think is it's either joystick or D-pad centric, meaning the joystick and the D-pad are exactly in the same location on the device. They're not skewed side to side or up and down or other ways. Your thumb is going to reach for either of them directly in line with each other, so you're never moving your grip up or down. It stays directly in line, which I think is fantastic because you're never moving your hands from the device, you're just moving your thumb side to side. This is the same case with the face buttons. They're directly next to the right joystick. So between right and left, you're not ever moving your hands from the device to continue playing with it. But if you want to, you can, and this is where the next piece, which I think is very important, comes in. Now, if you're only ever using this in gaming mode, these trackpads may only come in useful occasionally, but I think having the dual trackpads on this device makes it useful as a computer even more so than any other device I've seen. Having these little trackpads on here means that when you switch into desktop mode, you can quickly move around like you would on a laptop, just with your thumb as the pointer, then using the trigger as the clicks. So I think the ergonomics are really why this hardware has been so popular, even though it's not the most powerful. Then moving on to the next feature that I think is a reason why people are choosing the Steam Deck still are the screen options. Valve was able to put together multiple different screen options within the first 2 years of launching this device, which when we look at other handhelds on the market, or even other handhelds like the Nintendo Switch, they don't really give you different options for glass type. And the Steam Deck from day one was able to do 2 different types of glass. One that had a high gloss, which is good for playing inside, and then one that was very matte, which is much better for playing outside. And for someone like me who brings the Steam Deck to the beach every year, the matte one was the way to go for me. In addition to the different LCD and OLED models that they rolled out. Having this many different options on the hardware itself, but not actually changing the shape of it, I think is the reason why it's done so popular. Now, all those different SKUs of device where you can actually choose the different hardware specs and screens and all that jazz doesn't actually change the power level, which is really nice. So, yes, the Steam Deck is not the most powerful device on the market, but I think it hits that sweet spot of enough power to play a lot of the AAA titles at pretty poor graphic levels, but where most people are playing this is like right in the center, where people are going to be playing lower power games, and using lower power means you have a better battery life, and adding a screen like an OLED screen draws even less power. So this is a very interesting way of saying like, hey, we're not going to make a Maserati here, we're going to make a Toyota Corolla. It ain't going to be flashy, but damn is it going to be useful. So giving the people the option to game on the budget that they want is very important. Keeping the same shape keeps the production costs down as well, but with different changes, you're actually able to widely vary the prices, which means you can put more devices in hands for people who want them. If you want people to pay more, well then you can get more storage and a better screen. If someone wants to go with refurbished and get the even cheapest model, maybe that isn't even available anymore, you could do that too. And I've done that with one of my consoles and completely fixed it up myself. Put a different case on it, put a different screen in it, and gave it more storage and different buttons, and it was an incredible experience. But the hardware alone isn't the real reason why this Steam Deck has been so popular. Yes, we've already made the Corolla analogy, but there's another special sauce on why this thing has been so popular, and why other people have taken the operating system from this device and put it on other handhelds out in the market. So let's take a look at the software and see what the special smell is. And this is really where Valve shines. The software support for this device has been absolutely incredible. Let's go over the few different things that Valve has been doing over the last few years to make this feel and work like a Nintendo handheld, and not like a brick with Windows jammed in. And unlike that brick-filled Windows machine, the Steam Deck is designed to be a gaming console, with Linux being the back-end software. With this being designed as gaming first, you're not logged into a desktop right away. And that's the other problem that we have with a lot of these other handhelds, is you're logged directly into Windows, which is okay, but it kind of takes you out of the whole theme of gaming. You don't just get to click on a game and start, you have to launch programs, deal with Windows updates, and do all that kind of stuff in the back end, where the Steam software just jams the games right in your face right when you start, which is exactly what you want. Now don't get me wrong, the Windows handhelds have their place, but for me, I think the software and the Steam Deck itself is the reason why it's doing so well, with over 6 million copies sold so far. And the software support is just getting better and better. This little overlay that you can use on the right hand side, you can pull up menus to try and change your frame rate, what you can do, your wattage, screen, brightness, volume, every little thing you might need right there with one button. And it's really nice. It doesn't do any hitching when you're in game and you open this. It's very seamless, and it lets you play how you want. If you want to limit the device to only 7 watts of power so you can get more juice out of it and a longer game time, you can. And the next thing is the game list, which Valve is going through and verifying each one of its games that plays well on the Steam Deck. So they've curated a list of games that play well on the Steam Deck, which no other handheld manufacturer has done. This is kind of crazy because they're going through using the user data that people are trying new games on Steam, and if you've played more than 3 hours of a game on the deck, with that, they'll actually send you a note saying, hey, we saw you played a bunch of time on this game. How do you think it does on the Steam Deck? And then you can actually rate it as a user, which I think is helping build the community even more. Now, there are a few things that are problems. So like Destiny, the anti-cheat software for it does not work on Linux, and they're not interested in porting it over. Same thing with a lot of other online multiplayer games, where the anti-cheats or other software won't jive with Linux or hasn't had a port yet for it, and they won't run. Which it's not a ton of games, but it's enough for people to be like, oh, well, there's a few games that don't work. And if you're only a Destiny player and that's the only game you play, which right now it's pretty low, this might not be the handheld for you. But other than that, there are so many games now launching with verified right away. And this is the cool part, because this is where this builds community. So games launching now with the Steam Deck in mind, you can jump right into your friends list, see who's going to pre-order the game, and then pre-download it to your deck and enjoy the game. I personally like how the Steam Community tab and Steam Friend List works, in addition to being able to use Discord on that, which you can with other Windows or your phone now devices. But the easy voice chat with all the microphones built into the Steam Deck actually work really well. So I think the software that they've done and thought really hard about, this is a gaming machine, what do we want the players to do right away, has really made a big difference, at least in my opinion. Now, I think Valve has absolutely nailed their business idea here, which is we are going to make something that puts games as cheaply and easily as possible into the hands of people and play them. Not anything else. We're just going to play some games, and we're going to give you options to get it as cheap as possible, which is why I think the Steam Deck is so popular. It seems like it's a very simple thing, and obviously, like every other company, Valve wants to make money doing it. But making the player feel good about the time and effort that they spend in these games, in addition to the money that you are sinking into devices and software, really helps. You could tell that the player and user of the Steam Deck in this case is put first. It's a device made for gaming, and everything else is second. Where a lot of these other Windows handhelds are a Windows operating system with a gaming handheld attached to it, which makes it kind of weird. This brings us to our last idea of this video, which is, what is this thing compared to? What are you shopping around for if you're looking for a handheld gaming computer? Well, there's a ton now. So You have the ROG Ally, MSI, Lenovo. All of your laptop brands have generally jumped on board with this idea because it's basically the laptop parts jammed into a different container. Instead of a keyboard and mouse situation, you're going for a handheld controller situation, which I think is a great idea. They put all the chips on one board, slap some controllers onto it, put a screen in front of it, battery behind it, and you got yourself a gaming handheld. Do one every 2 years and sell them for $800 to $1,200 a piece, and people will buy them. Well, that's what people are doing, and I think they're getting incredibly popular. But to me, I think the Steam Deck's more about making the games work for you, where if you have a Steam library already and you're a computer gamer, then all you're going to do is pick up this thing and install your games from Steam. Now, the other funny thing is if you pick up a Windows handheld or any of those other handhelds, even you could put Linux or you can even put a version of Valve's system on there. That's all you're going to do anyway. So it's really up to you. So if you want to go cheaper and get something in the middle of the road, you can. But if you want to spend $1,200, you can go out and buy a more powerful one that'll have a 120 hertz screen and it'll be a little bit more power and all that other stuff. But to me, I think Valve nails the mark, and it's why I've kept mine for so long, and the other devices really aren't here anymore. I even kept my original launch Steam Deck and use it as what you see behind you. This computer is running off a Steam Deck, and yes, I could have gotten rid of it, but it's been useful. I think the biggest thing to take away from this video is if you're looking for specifically a Steam Deck, just get one. It's a fantastic peripheral to your gaming computer setup already. Now, if you're looking for a gaming handheld and you don't have any games to already go into it, well, maybe picking up a more powerful one and using it as a desktop solution after that might be an idea. That's all I have for y'all today. I very much enjoy the Steam Deck. I use it all the time and use it on travel as well. Either way you would like to go, we have a video for you. Maybe check out something that's a Windows-based handheld, or maybe check out something that's a different Steam Deck or a different handheld entirely. But either way, I think checking out one of these videos is just right for you.